Emmanuel Macron, the French president, and Volodymyr Zelenskiy, the Ukrainian president, spoke by phone on Sunday and discussed Ukraine's military needs. They coordinated their positions on the war and on how to end the conflict with Russia. Zelensky thanked France and Macron for their support and promised to receive weapons from France. The European Union said it would finalize a plan to buy ammunition for Ukraine soon. Tim Scott, a Republican U.S. Senator and the only black Republican in the Senate, plans to announce his decision on entering the 2024 presidential race on May 22, according to media reports. He has raised his national profile and continued fundraising with a presidential exploratory committee, and has criticized President Joe Biden and other Democrats on issues such as crime, inflation, and race. He is polling at about 2% support in national polls, behind former President Donald Trump and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, who are the two Republican frontrunners. He joins former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley and other Republican contenders in the quest for the nomination. Brownsville, Texas, a city on the southernmost tip of Texas, is struggling to find space for migrants who have abruptly begun crossing by the thousands from Mexico. The migrants, mostly from Venezuela, are fleeing poverty and violence, and are frustrated by a glitch-plagued app that can allow them to seek asylum at a port of entry. Some also face cartel threats. The Biden administration plans to end the pandemic-era asylum restrictions, which have led to a sharp rise in daily illegal crossings from Mexico. Other cities, such as Chicago, are also facing large influxes of migrants. Brownsville has issued a disaster declaration and is facing logistical challenges in providing shelter, food, and transportation for the migrants. The 2024 Senate races are the main focus of this article, which analyzes the chance and challenges for both parties to win back the chamber. 7 states that are most likely to flip party control, depending on the presidential outcome and the performance of the candidates. These states are West Virginia, where Democrat Joe Manchin is undecided about running and faces a crowded GOP field. Montana, where Democrat Jon Tester is seeking a 4th term and has a well-established brand. Ohio, where Democrat Sherrod Brown is the only incumbent to win statewide and has a strong base. Arizona, where independent Kyrsten Sinema is a target for both parties and has a cash-on-hand advantage. Nevada, where Democrat Jackie Rosen is running for re-election and touts her bipartisan record. Wisconsin, where Democrat Tammy Baldwin is seeking a 3rd term and has a fundraising edge. Michigan, where Democrat Debbie Stabenow is retiring and has a strong challenger in Representative Alyssa Slotkin. Some of the factors that could influence the races, such as the national environment, the presidential race, the primary challenges, and the establishment candidates. The parties are focused on what they can control, candidates, and that the races will be competitive and interesting in 2024. Candace Chapman Scott, a former mortuary worker in Arkansas, pleaded not guilty to charges she sold stolen body parts from medical school corpses for $11,000 to a Pennsylvania man she met on Facebook. The buyer, Jeremy Lee Pauley, was charged in Pennsylvania with abuse of a corpse, receiving stolen property and other counts. He is free on bail and his hearing is scheduled for June 7. The body parts Scott sold were from the University of Arkansas for Medical Sciences, where the mortuary she worked at sent remains of cadavers that had been donated for medical students to examine. Prosecutors argue that Scott should remain behind bars until her trial because she may flee over the prospect of a long prison sentence. The judge said the accusations are shocking and depraved but did not rule on her bail yet.
A 16-year-old student named Malik Barnes, who was accepted into more than 170 colleges and received more than $9 million in scholarships. Barnes has a 4.98 GPA and plays on his school's basketball and track and field teams. He attributes his success to his long-term dreams and aspirations that are beyond the next 10 to 20 years, which motivates him to work hard now so that he can achieve his goals in the future. Barnes is expected to make his college decision on Tuesday and is looking for a school that will set him up with the best course academically, financially, and will give him a quality education where he's comfortable. He advises others who want to excel and attract scholarships to keep God in the midst and make their education a priority. Eric Horvitz, Microsoft's first chief scientific officer and a leading voice in artificial intelligence, urges companies to pause their AI projects for 6 months and to address the ethical and social implications of the technology. He is worried about the misuse, manipulation, and impersonation of AI by bad actors and adversaries, and he calls for more research, regulation, and authentication to ensure that AI can benefit humanity and democracy. He also shares his views on the challenges and opportunities of AI, such as the emergence of large language models like GPT-4 that can generate realistic and creative content, the need for more responsible and ethical design and engineering, and the potential for general intelligence that can surpass human capabilities. He responds to some of the criticisms and concerns raised by the open letter signed by more than 20,000 people, the layoffs of some of his AI ethics team, and the paper he published on the limitations and gaps of large language models.
Thank you for watching. Please support our efforts by liking and sharing the videos. Don't forget to subscribe to get our regular updates.